I grew up in what most people would call a perfect suburban neighborhood. Quiet streets, friendly neighbors, and a 3-story house my family had lived in for as long as I could remember. Nothing about it ever felt strange, until I started connecting the dots. The first incident happened when I was still young, middle school, maybe. I didn't understand it at the time, but I remember overhearing my parents talking in the kitchen early one morning. My dad sounded tense, almost disturbed, like something had happened again. They didn't tell me anything. A few days later, my older brother finally did. The night before, my dad had been working late in his office on the 3rd floor. Around midnight, he noticed something unusual outside his window, a black chivvy. Suburban crawling down our street. Not driving. Crawling. It was moving so slowly it didn't even look real. Like the driver had taken their foot off everything and was just letting it roll forward. My dad watched it pass, confused, but didn't think much of it. Until it came back. Same car. Same slow movement. This time, it stopped directly across from our house. And it didn't move. My dad kept watching, expecting someone to step out. No doors opened. No lights turned on. Just a silent vehicle sitting in the dark. Minutes passed. Then an hour. Eventually, he went back to work, checking the window every now and then. Nothing changed. At some point around 2 a.m., he fell asleep at his desk. When he woke up at 5:30, the car was still there. Same position. Same silence. No one had gotten out. No one had left. And just before sunrise, it was gone. Like it had never been there at all. At the time, we brushed it off. Maybe someone resting. Maybe nothing. But years later, I realized that wasn't the beginning. It was a warning. By the time I turned 15, I had my own late-night routine. Music, headphones, and hours spent alone in my room, making beats while the rest of the house slept. My desk faced the window. I could see everything outside. One night, sometime after midnight, I noticed something strange, a flicker of light moving across the street. At first, I thought it was just a passing car, but it didn't stop. I looked closer. There were multiple cars. 3, maybe more, all moving slowly, just like the one my dad had described years earlier. But this time, they weren't just driving. They were searching. People inside the cars were shining flashlights at houses, sweeping beams across windows, doors, everything. I froze. I watched as the light passed over my neighbor's house, then moved toward mine. The moment I realized it was coming straight for my window, I dropped to the floor. Seconds later, my room lit up. A bright beam swept across my ceiling. They were looking inside. I didn't move, didn't breathe. After what felt like forever, the light disappeared. I stayed down for another 20 seconds before slowly peeking back up. The cars were already at the end of the street, turning away like nothing had happened. The next morning, I told my parents everything. That's when things changed. My dad installed cameras, motion lights, a full security system. We told ourselves it was just criminals, scouting houses. But deep down, something didn't feel right. And then, it got worse. A few years later, while working in our backyard, a contractor found something hidden in the bushes. A tiny camera. Dead battery. No storage. No explanation. Just one terrifying question. How long had it been watching us? Years passed, and life slowly returned to normal, or at least, we pretended it did. New neighbors moved in next door. A quiet couple. No kids. Nothing unusual, at first. But I started noticing things. Late at night, or early in the morning, they would stand at their upstairs window, just looking into our yard. Not sitting. Not moving. Just watching. At first, I told myself I was overthinking it. But then one night, while walking my dog, I saw something that stuck with me. Through their kitchen window, they were sitting at a table. With someone else. A man. He was impossible to forget. Bald. Muscular. Thick eyebrows. A face that didn't blend in. As I walked past, the woman suddenly stood up and pulled the curtain shut. She never looked at me. But somehow, it felt like she knew I was watching. I tried to forget about it. Until years later, when everything came crashing back. My family took a trip to Paris. It was supposed to be a happy time, celebration, vacation, normal life. One night, sitting in a crowded bar, I looked across the room and saw him, the same man, sitting alone, watching. My heart dropped. There was no way this was a coincidence. Not in another country. Not again. Then he looked at me. We locked eyes. And in that moment, I knew. He recognized me too. Without a word, he stood up and walked away. I followed him. But he was gone. A few days later, I saw him again, this time in broad daylight, holding a camera, pointed in our direction. That's when I told my parents everything. And for the first time, they believed me. After we returned home, I couldn't shake the feeling. We weren't just unlucky. We were being watched. And then came the night that confirmed everything. I went for a hike. It was late, around 8 p.m. The trail was familiar, something I'd done many times before. But that night, thick fog rolled in, reducing visibility to almost nothing. About an hour in, I noticed a smell. Perfume. Soft. Floral. Completely out of place. It vanished as quickly as it came. Then came another smell. Smoke. Like a campfire. Then something else. Something I recognized but couldn't place. That's when I saw it. A flashlight beam. High above me. On a ridge where no trail existed. Someone was up there. The light flickered on and off, moving unnaturally. Then I heard it. Whistling. Soft. Calm. Close enough to hear clearly. My music stopped. My heart didn't. I kept walking until I reached a small overlook. And that's where I saw it. A stone marker. Carefully placed. Not natural. Not random. A sign. The moment I turned back, I heard footsteps. Fast. Aggressive. Coming straight at me. I froze. They got closer. Closer. Then, silence. Nothing. No one. Just fog. But I knew. Something was there. Watching. Waiting. I walked back slowly, every step feeling like I wasn't alone. Then something crashed behind me. I ran. Didn't stop. Didn't look back. And the entire time, I heard something chasing me through the darkness. I made it to my car. Barely. And I haven't gone back since. Because now I know the truth. They're still out there.